Today we're going to talk about local development with Aspire. Hi, I'm Colin.
Hi, I'm Yvo.
Well, Yvo, today I wanted to talk a bit about Aspire. I've
Cool.
worked with Aspire for a bit at a customer and I wanted to share some knowledge about that.
Yeah, great.
So Aspire is a code-first orchestration for local development. Well, for me, it's a really powerful tool to get up and running for local development quite easy. You can skip over some complex configuration and just go straight into developing. And I think that's a really cool tool to show.
And what's the added value as of that you just hit F5 from Visual Studio?
Yeah, it is. So there's no separate database startups, no separate front-end startups apart from your backend. So it's just one hit on the button and it all starts at once, which is really nice.
All of your components?
Yeah, the components
cool.
I have at least. So I want to show a demo. I start up a database, a backend service and a front-end service all at once. And I want to show you how you can do that. I think we go into the demo quite quickly.
Yeah, sure. Cool.
So here we have my environment. It is now just an API, pretty simple. I'm organizing a FIFA tournament, so why not create an application for that?
Yeah.
And dive into Aspire. So how can we Aspirify an existing application? Well, for that, we start in terminal. We do Aspire init. Then it will ask me some questions.
And what you have up until now is just the regular C#.NET backend.
Yeah,
and
it's a C#.NET backend with a Angular frontend. It's not in the solution, but it's in the folder, but not in the solution. So here I get a prompt. It asks me which projects to select and add to the app host. App host is a component of Aspire. We will talk a bit more about that when it's generated. So I hit my spacebar to add it to the app host. Add to all previously added projects. Because I have done it before, it will add the references, but I'll show the references that need to be created.
Yeah,
and
you need some NuGet packages for that, I guess.
And project references. So you have to reference your tournament application, in this case, to the app host, so it knows the reference between the two.
Of course.
And we want the latest version, 13.2.4. Then it will generate, reload the solution.
Yeah, it changed quite some files, of course.
Yeah, it did.
In the core.
And as you can see, it added a app host and a service defaults project. So first we'll get into the app host. So in the solution, it has a reference to the tournament application. So that's the references it added. And in the app host itself, this is your actual orchestrator. So this is the place where you build up your application. As you can see, it's quite empty at the moment. First of all, I want to add 2 packages to this because I am going to add a front-end, JavaScript, and I want to add a SQL Server, which is a separate package.
Okay, so for supporting components you want to add, there are numerous NuGet packages you can add. Yeah.
So this one, Aspire hosting SQL Server. This one I want to add because this has the
quite a lot of dependencies.
Yeah. And the JavaScript one because I'm adding my front end, which is JavaScript. This is a lot less. And then it adds those packages. I prepared a actual app host. So this is a bit cheating, but I'll explain it.
It's easier than typing.
Yeah, that is live demo. Eh?
Yeah.
So the components here, at the top you see DB server at SQL Server. Yeah. This adds the SQL Server. One important thing, open Docker desktop because it runs on Docker. I made that mistake plenty of times, like why isn't it working? No Docker desktop. Yeah. So free tip for me.
Just add Docker to your startup, then
even better.
Yeah, then you'll never have that.
On the DB server, I add a database called SqlDb. So this just creates the database on the resource, on the SQL Server resource.
Does this also populate the schema for that database already?
No.
Okay, so it's just an empty database with that name.
I apply the migrations in my programs, yes. So then it does, but it's not standard.
Yeah, from your API, it will just run the regular entity framework migrations to build up that schema.
Yeah, so no special things there.
Yeah.
Then this tournament application project, this is only possible if you add the reference. So again, don't forget the reference, because otherwise you will be searching why isn't it working. Then here's something interesting happens. You can call a with reference and a wait for. The with reference adds a reference to the resource you hit. So in this case, it's the SqlDb database.
Yeah.
And it will add the reference as a connection string environment variable. So you don't have to, it doesn't require extra setup for your connection string to be visible for your API, because it injects it here in the app host.
And that connection string for that API, I guess with normal development, you also configure some kind of connection string to the database.
Yeah.
Do you have any influence on the name for that connection string? Because you can also have multiple connection strings.
You mean on the variable or the actual connection string?
Yeah, the actual connection string. Or the variable name, how
yeah,
you
well,
use
the variable
it in your
name, it's dependent on the name you use in your app host. So here I call it SqlDb, and if we look into the programs, yes, we add it as SqlDb, and then it knows the connection.
Okay, so that is already
because
the
it
name of the
injects
connection string.
it injects it as a environment variable.
Yeah.
So that's a really cool feature, I think. It also allows you to wait for the DB. So you want the DB in a healthy state before you start your API. So it will orchestrate that in this way.
Yeah, the container has to start.
Yeah, and I think the same thing happens for the JavaScript app. So I have the reference to my folder where the Angular app lives. And I also add the reference and the wait for orchestration, which is quite nice. So this is part one of Aspire, which I really like.
Yeah.
It's a quick and easy orchestrator to start your application with one click on the button. But before we do that, I want to quickly go into the service defaults. These are some extension methods that are automatically added by Aspire. And I think an important one is the add service defaults, which allows you to add telemetry to your local development without hard setup or external packages. It's just really simple. To the tournament application, you add a reference to the service defaults project.
Okay.
So again, reference to the project. And then in your program CS, you do builder.add service defaults, which is the extension method in that project.
Yeah, so that is a code change you need to do in your API.
Yeah, but that's the only one.
Okay.
And then to show, we're going to select the app host as a started project. Yeah. And then we will hit one button. And then Aspire will do its magic. Yeah, I hope. So it requires some starting up.
Build. Yeah.
You will get into the Aspire dashboard in a bit.
Yeah. The regular setup, of course, that you need to start your backend, and you can have that connected to a SQL engine, to a SQL database in your container, of course, or to a remote deployed Azure SQL database. But now you can have it locally in your Docker container also.
Yeah.
But you should start your API separately and your frontend separately, and then you can connect
Docker separately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now you just have that app host project, and you can run that, and then everything starts.
Yeah, and like you saw, it was 5 minutes, and then you have it up and running.
Yeah, and you get a nice dashboard.
Yeah, you get a very nice dashboard, and here you can see it is starting. It's waiting the tournament frontend and the API, because that is what I set in my orchestrator. It's set wait for. It will say running unhealthy, but it's starting up.
I guess it's also because it's the first time, because if you do this every day or multiple times a day, that container will already be available locally, and then it will start.
Yeah. It's also creating the Docker container, of course.
Yeah.
So for the first time, it's taking a while.
And does it also preserve that Docker container locally?
Yeah, it does.
If you modify the data,
it's visible in your Docker desktop, so it will be there.
Yeah, so it can really be your local development server with persistent data.
Yeah. You can also add data volumes to keep it persistent. So if you want specific data, you can hook up a data volume, and then it will keep the data you need for their local testing environment or whatever you're going to use it for.
And you can share that with your team as
well.
Yeah,
and that's also really nice. It's for new developers, it's really easy to get up and running without a lot of config. It's what's there, and that's really nice, I think.
Clone the repo, hit F5.
Nice. So as you can see, a lot of resources have started up now. or at least all that I defined. You have a nice graph which tells you which resources, nice feature I think, but not extremely useful. And you also have an endpoint for your Swagger still, so you can still go into Swagger and see what endpoints there are. And you have, for example, for your front end, still the console, so if faults happen in your front end, you can see the faults that are happening. So let's go into the front end, which is localhost 4200. This is my application for now. I want to create a tournament, so I have a call, and now I want to show the telemetry. So here we have some tabs. We have structured, traces, metrics, and when we go into traces, we can see post API tournaments. I just created the tournament with this. It got the teams, so it logs the data from my application.
Yeah, this gives you almost the same depth of information as for a deployed application in Azure when you go to application insights.
Yeah, and I think this is a really nice feature. It's really good for local development, and I quite like it. So I'm pretty enthusiastic about the technique.
Yeah. And it makes it a lot more easy to just get started with a new solution.
Yeah.
And you added packages for SQL Server and for JavaScript. Are all components that are available in Azure PaaS, for instance, are they available as
I don't think they are all available yet. There are a few. You have, for example, Azure Storage, which you can start up an emulator as well, so it will do Azure Write for you.
Okay.
But I don't think it's complete yet, because it's still a technique that's evolving. So it's getting there, but it's not fully Azure yet.
Yeah, but also a more complex solution with functions that are connected to storage accounts, storage queues.
Yeah, that's available.
So local.
Functions is available, storage is available, so you could pretty easily emulate that, I think.
And things like a key vault, a server bus?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I need to investigate that. But it's not complete, but they are having quite a few, so that's nice.
Yeah, and it's evolving, of course. New components are added along the way.
Yeah, it evolved from .NET Aspire to Aspire, so also other languages.
It's not .NET Aspire anymore.
No, it's Aspire. So Python is available, Java is available. You can also start up with apps in Node.js. So a lot more languages are available and not just C#.NET. Cool. So that's also a nice development.
Yeah. Looking good. Right.
So I think that was my demo, the one that I wanted to show.
Okay, great. Thank you.
No problem.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.